Welcome back to Special Report. We're joined again by Gary Shapley, supervisory IRS agent and a whistleblower in this case. What's the genesis of the WhatsApp? How does it come to be? When do you know of it in the investigative process?
So I can't say with specificity the exact time frame we received that, but I can say that we did an electronic search warrant to Apple, and it was produced in that batch.
From Apple?
That's correct.
All right, I'm just going to read from this. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Seems kind of cut and dry.
Yes, and the importance of that WhatsApp message is that as an IRS criminal investigator, we need to understand all the financial flows of money. We're working an investigation on Hunter Biden, and we're trying to assess a true and accurate tax assessment for him. So if there is money that's going elsewhere, whether it's President Biden or elsewhere, we need to follow the investigative steps to ensure that happens, and they were just not allowed in this particular investigation.
Where do you think this goes? You're going to be testifying again?
So, I have counsel. I sought out counsel, and I have I'm going to follow their advice. And ultimately, I wanted to bring it forward. Well, I didn't want to. I felt like I had to, and I brought it forward to the committee to consider. And ultimately, they're going to decide where to take it. There's a couple different inspector generals involved that I've interviewed and provided information to as well. So it's really up to them where it goes.
And as far as following the money, did you get that far down the investigative track?
Concerning Hunter Biden, I feel like we have a very good grasp on the income flows. Yes.
And is it millions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was around 8.3 million from 2014 to 2019.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
And as far as the president's involvement in that?
So that's kind of the crux of one of the issues here, is that we weren't allowed to ask questions about Dad. We weren't allowed to ask about the big guy. We weren't allowed to include certain names and document requests and search warrants. So, we were precluded from following that line of questioning.
Are you convinced, looking back at this now, that this was an effort to protect President Biden and his family?
We were conducting an investigation of Hunter Biden, and we were trying to follow the normal process. We were trying to get to the bottom of it, and ultimately, if it was going to lead to another individual, we should follow that to determine what is actually happening. But there were definitely hindrances that I've never seen before in my 14 years concerning this investigation that didn't allow us to follow through on investigation of any other individual, to include President Biden.
Tracking the money. How did it go? Where do you think it is?
The money that Hunter Biden earned? Well,
where he spent it?
Yeah, a lot of it is spent.
But as far as the investigation goes, that was part of it. Tracking where it came from, where it went to.
Oh, absolutely.
And you had that down?
We feel like we did, but there were certain things that, when prosecutors don't allow you to put the subject's name on document requests or on search warrants, then, it raises the possibility that there's more information out there we didn't find. But based on all of the financial records that we did find, they've been analyzed. And it was around 8.3 million he received.
From who?
They came from China, from CEFC, came from Ukraine, and from Romania. And even the Burisma money, and it's kind of a aspect that we didn't get into, but the 2014 and 2015 tax years when the Burisma money was coming in, to this day, there's still around $400,000 of unreported income from Burisma in 2014. Hunter Biden was told by his partner Eric Schwerin that he needed to amend his returns, and he never did. So DC U.S. Attorney's Office declining those charges, David Weiss requesting special counsel authority and being denied, and then the statute of limitations then expires in November or December of 2022. So those years are gone, and there's no way to recoup the money from that bereavement income.
For the people who say, well, yeah, listen, he paid the back taxes and it's all done. It's passed.
Sure. Well, to say he paid is a misnomer, right? Because it was a individual, Patrick Morris, that he met at a campaign finance event, and then he immediately starts giving Hunter Biden money to pay off tax debts, to pay living expenses. The money that was given to Hunter Biden by Morris showed up on his tax returns as a loan to him. So when you have a person that you meet at a campaign finance event, then he's all of a sudden giving you millions of dollars, and now it's a loan to you. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that the subject paid those taxes.
Is there criminal implications in what you were investigating when it comes to Hunter Biden?
Oh, absolutely. And the most substantive felony charges were left off the table.
Which would have been what?
Which would have been evasion for 14, false return for 18 and 2019. So as of right now, in the information that's been out there in the public, it uses the term in excess of $100,000 for 2017 and separately for 2018. The true number is $580,000 of failure to pay for 2017 and $620,000 for 2018. Yet this document puts it close to $100,000.
Again, all at the direction of people kind of overseeing all this.
Yeah, I mean, I was left out when that happened, but the relevance to 2018 tax year is that doesn't even include the false business expenses that he claimed, and that the prosecutors refused to charge. So there's still outstanding tax due and owing above that $620,000 that, because of this deal, they'll never recoup.
At one point, this was the prosecutors were all for this.
Yeah, so the special agent report, the recommended charges from IRS criminal investigation, was included in the House Ways and Means Committee testimony, and in that it included felony charges as well as misdemeanor charges from 2014 to 2019. In that report, and what's included as an exhibit, it says in there that the Department of Justice tax attorney and AUSA Leslie Wolf had reviewed those recommendations, and they agreed with those recommendations. So even after being hindered in our investigation, the evidence that we collected during it still met the elements of the criminal violations, and everyone participating agreed. That document went forward with everyone's concurrence.
And yet results in this deal.
Yeah. So, ultimately there are disagreements between investigators and prosecutors, but you clearly see that when the special agent report goes forward, at least two of them are on board, right? Then it goes to the DC U.S. Attorney's Office for 2014 and 15 tax years. They request discovery. It looks like they're moving to charge. They obviously agree with those charges, and then nothing happens. He requests special counsel authority on top of when he's denied. He's denied that. So there's steps in there that show that the prosecutors supported the recommendations in that special agent report that included felony charges.
So for you, does this frustrate you? I mean, obviously you were compelled to do this because you think it's the right thing to do, but the situation now, does it frustrate you?
Well, I'm kind of in an unprecedented place. I mean, I'm not frustrated about the outcome, right? Because that's out of my control. But what I am frustrated about is that we were hindered when we were conducting this investigation. And I think that it really hid the true scope of what happened in this investigation.
Which is why you're doing what you're doing.
That's right.
Mr. Shapley, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it.